Cool, so we can shit on them, but shorty generous. She wanna pack her little friends inside the 4-door. Looking at the ass, cause you the shit, but shorty in her own class on them. She know how I'm coming by it. In the height of slavery, I probably slapped the shit out of one of them little white boys. They ever tried to play with her. Probably lose my life, but shit, I proudly take their love. Simply cause I live for you. I love you like one of my kind, let it cake. You know I care for you. Think I'm funny, anything to put a smile on you, shorty. Shorty such a queen, she got me singing Elvis like the king. I can't help falling in love with something like that. What's going on, y'all? I know. Don't swing. Don't throw shit. Don't throw shit because I'm gonna throw shit back. So I broke another commandment. I'm getting over a cold, so don't judge me for that old man laugh. I broke another commandment. Thou shalt tune into all Pink Floyd. I didn't. I never heard it. I never heard the Dark Side of the Moon. I know. Shout out to Eugene, though. I know he got the cover art tattooed on his back, my dog. But today I'm going to be checking out Pink Floyd for the very first time. I've never heard them, period. To be fair, I've never heard their music. And today I'm going to be checking out what they are saying is considered to be the hit or considered to be the most successful song off of Dark Side of the Moon. It's always pretty much been a goal to check out that album to kind of see what the impact was and why it's meant so much to the culture of music as a whole. Not just rock, but I hear rappers, I hear international artists. I hear a lot of different filmmakers. I hear people talk on how this album changed their lives or the perspective that it gave them, the inspiration it gave them. So I figured this would be a good time to hop into it. I'm going to be checking out Time today. I will be checking out the full album Dark Side of the Moon. If you scan this QR code to our Patreon, once again, shout out to all of our patrons for your continued support. They always get early, uncut, and full access to all of our album reactions, even the ones that sometimes the subscribers on YouTube aren't necessarily excited to hear. Not everything will always pique your fancy, and that's fine. But if you're one of those people that you know this is something you're interested in, and you don't really care to wait for everybody else to get on board with how you're feeling, scan this QR code. The Dark Side of the Moon album reaction will be up on there, and I will be checking out the entire thing. No cuts, no edits, all for your enjoyment. If that's something you're excited about, get in tune with that. If they do want me to bring it here on YouTube, I need 250 likes. Y'all know it takes a lot of effort and time to edit down these album reactions, especially with the fact that a lot of these older bands, solo artists, whatever, their labels either block their stuff or they don't allow it to be monetized, which are both flags. So 250 likes on this video if you'd like to see me put it here. But we're going to get right into it. I'm not even going to talk too much. This one is dedicated to Eugene. Again, I know it has to mean a lot to you. Shit, he got it tattooed on him. I don't think anything means more than that. Let's do it. First of all, the ambiance of this song is psychotic. Just the atmosphere that the intro and the introduction of the instrumentation. I love the fact that it all plays into the bigger picture of connecting itself to not just the title of the song, but I know when I listen to this end transition of the album, the way that it flows will be strong in itself. I won't say that it's not as prevalent nowadays, but a lot of times artists don't take the time to understand how the flow and fluidity of music is important when it comes to putting together the track list for your music, but also setting a standard for the way that your music is supposed to feel. Even just using the clock sound effects in the beginning, or giving this Western standoff ambience going into before the song is introduced, is giving an effect that makes you excited for the music. I think that's something that is not a completely lost art, but it's not something that's as prevalent and put into the forefront as it once was. And I always appreciate that because it shows a lot of effort being put into the overall project, as opposed to just putting out music for the sake of getting it out there. That's something that a lot of older artists understand, and that's why they're revered so heavily. People don't get put on a pedestal for no reason. I'm a big advocate of the fact that things don't become popular for nothing. And I'm just excited to be able to experience it. I'm enjoying that it's giving me that excitement where I'm just sitting here like, fuck, let's get it. Hold on, I want to do a better service of making sure that I get the most accurate representation of everything that's being said. If you watch our channel a lot, you know I'm a lyric guy. I'm the type of person that I need to understand what's being said. So I'm going to find a lyric video and I'm going to put it on here so we can be able to follow along with exactly what's being said. That way, when I speak about it, it's something that's more so focused rather than what I think I heard. I like to be pretty precise with my interpretations of music, so we're going to get it right. What the fuck is that? My man said, wait. Not a piece of ground in your hometown. Waiting for someone or something to show you the way. Tired of lying before we even move on, I want to preface it with, I always like, y'all know I like to tell stories on the channel. I don't even know if he will remember this, but I remember it was a while ago. It might have been a year or so ago. So as y'all know, me and Janae are entrepreneurs. Y'all do know that. Thank you for your support. We appreciate you guys. But I remember having a conversation one day. Me and Eugene were working, and I just asked him, because I know before he used to be not really in the IT space, but more so like a coding type of space. And I asked him, like, you know, considering that he's older, I'm not going to put his business out there, but he's older. I said, do you ever wish that you did more? Like, do you ever wish that you took more of an individualism route? Do you wish you would have started your own businesses? And he was just saying, like, hell yeah. You know, if I knew then what I knew now, I would have took more risks. I would have been more open to taking my life into my own hands. And I think that conversation kind of rings true right now more than ever, because this song is really just giving the effect of something I always say to you guys. There is no blueprint on how to live your life, whether that's having the boldness to be able to live fearlessly, or whether it comes to raising your children or whatever it may be. Your parents, your friends, your elders, they can't tell you the right way to live your life, because everybody makes mistakes and there's no such thing as a perfect person. Nobody can tell you what would have been. They can tell you in hindsight, because, you know, hindsight is always 20/20. When you're looking back, you can always see how you could have done things a little bit differently. But nobody really tells you, especially if you come up in circumstances. Y'all know, everybody knows, I didn't have my father in my life, and my mother wasn't around too much. I was raised by an older grandmother who wasn't able to really show me much outside of having faith in God and having faith in a higher source. Some, you know, even if that's not what you believe in, that's what I personally believe. So she always tell me how important it is to keep the faith and understanding that when the time is right, God will always present a sign to show you that it's the proper moment to take this opportunity by storm. But nobody can actually tell you when is the right time. Nobody actually tells you how to go about living your life in a perfect way. There's no roadmap to say, like, you know, when you turn 21, this is what you should do. At 25, you should do this. At 28, you should be getting married. At 30, you should have a baby. Nobody can tell you the right pacing of life that makes sense for you. But all that it really speaks on is the fact that time is fleeting. I don't want to be that person that I let my youth. You always hear people say your youth is your greatest asset in life. You don't want to be that person that allowed your youth to fly by you, and then you get to a point in your life where you look back like, damn, I wasted the last 10 years. I wasted the last 20. Some people wasted the last 30, 40 years. And you look back and think, I shouldn't have been afraid of the things I were afraid of. I should have took more risk. I should have lived my life more fearlessly. I should have allowed myself to live and be exactly who I wanted, because you don't want to get to the end of it all and realize that I wasted all of the most important time that I had. I think a quote that somebody always tells me that stands out to me is, when you pass, you know, on your tombstone, you have the date you were born and the date you died. But that dash in between it, you get to decide what that represents. You get to decide what story is represented by that dash. Whatever your life means and whatever the legacy you leave behind is going to mean to your kids, your grandkids, or even just to the people that you want to impact in life, you get to decide what that impact and what that legacy represents. And I like the fact that this song is kind of just speaking on how fleeting time is. I think that's a really dope concept. And I love that the music leading into it was just as engaging as the lyrics are. I think that's very important, and it gives a 1-2 punch that's very dynamic. If you care about that type of stuff, that's just, y'all know I'm a stickler for message.
song is over. Thought I'd something more to say.
That song is psychotic. First of all, let me... Y'all know I always got a lot to say. But this motherfucker was spitting. Yeah. So, what I do want to cover that I didn't already talk about, I love that the musical breaks were reminiscent of the same effect of what it is to speak on the same topics that the lyrics were speaking on. I like the fact that the music gave the essence. It felt. Y'all hear me talk a lot on this channel about how important it is to relate the lyrics with the energy and feeling that the instrumentation gives when you hear that with no words. Coming off of that first verse and hearing the way that the instrumentation played and the way that it flowed, I love that it gave the energy of longing. It gave the energy of longing for accomplishing those things that you're too afraid to do. I love the fact that it also gave the energy of regret as the song progressed. That's just what it personally materialized for me. I like the fact that it gave the feeling of chasing after something. It gave the emotion of what it feels like to be in pursuit. And I love the fact that coming off of that second verse where it slowed down, first off, the second verse talks a lot about what it's like to get to that second gear, that next gear of life where, you know, you've gotten older. And this is your reflection point where you look back on the youth that was wasted, or you look back on the times that you know you should have focused more on things that truly set your heart on fire. Now, I love the fact that this is speaking, it could be on behalf of them as individuals, but I love that it's speaking to the have-nots as well. This song is speaking directly to the heart of the man that was afraid to chase his goals, to all of the potential Pink Floyds, to all of the potential Michael Jordans that ended up getting life in prison, all of the Pink Floyds that ended up committing suicide or ended up feeling like, maybe that's not what God intended for me, so I might as well not even take the risk of trying to be that. I love that it gives the energy of speaking to the heart of those men and letting you know that I see you, and let you know that I understand that this is where your dream and your hearts lie, and it's very possible. Even though you are in that second phase of life where you're reflecting and maybe feeling feelings of depression or feelings of longing for something that you feel like you missed out on, statistics say that the most successful people find their way going into their 50s and 60s, going into that later phase of life where you realize that a lot of time has passed. A lot of people find their millions, find their success, find their peace, find their happiness in those later phases of life. So never feel like it's too late for you to accomplish your dreams. A lot of people like to lean on statistics to prove their point, so I'm leaning into your world. Statistics say that the latter part of your life is where the most success can be found, so never give up on what you focused on. But this song speaks to the heart of men. On the other side of it, the other side of the same coin, it could be speaking from the band's perspective of knowing what it feels like to have that explosive level of success. You can be confident in knowing that the music you're putting out is very powerful, but one thing we do know about the world, talent and expertise and musicality does not mean the success is on the other side of it. You can't tell me that you knew putting out Dark Side of the Moon that it would go on to be what it's become. You can't predict things like that. You can't predict that 50 years later they'd be celebrating it, putting on festivals. You'd have cover bands that want to do your music because it was so impactful to the development of them as a human being. You can't predict those things. But this could also be speaking to the perspective of being that person that got so engulfed in chasing your dream and following it to the higher depths that you missed out on so many other aspects of what makes life important. I think a lot of people always figure, and this is something that America can trick you into thinking, success is predicated on the things you own, predicated on the money that you make. Honestly, the greatest level of success that you can have is being loved and loving somebody, being surrounded by people that genuinely love you, raising your children, having somebody that you can come home to and pour into. Those could be aspects, because I know a lot of times where I watch biopics of artists back then, they gave their life to this. So they missed out on some of the simple pleasures. And as they get older, they realize, damn, I wish I would have been there more for my kids. When you get to the end of it, you realize, damn, the only thing that matters is I should have been there. I wasn't home when my mom passed away because I was out touring. I was recording my album in another country, so I wasn't able to see my kid take their first steps. I think it's important to understand and pay attention to what success truly means in your heart, because everybody's definition of it is completely different. You don't have to have millions of dollars to be a success. It all depends on what's most important to you and what brings your heart the most joy. But that also shows the duality of what it feels like to get to the end of it all and be on two opposite sides of it. The most successful person in the room could have committed suicide because they're so lonely. They have no happiness. They have no people that are genuinely pouring into them and giving them love. Look at what happened to Elvis. I watched that movie. Or you can have the person that struggled their entire lives, but their children loved them. They were present. They had loving wives. They had family. They were immersed in that experience. But in their heart and in their brain, they never felt complete because they couldn't provide to the extent that they wanted to. That's duality, and that's the duality of men. Everybody suffers from that, and that's the plague of never feeling like you're doing enough. That's just something that society has pushed on us, and only we can break that. But I love the fact that it's just given a sense of duality on what time means to people and how important it is to understand what matters to you and figure it out. Don't be afraid and don't wait on people to light the path for you. You have to be willing to go out there and find what matters for you, even if it risks everything. You have to be introspective. You have to have tough conversations with yourself and be able to understand what's for you, what's not for you, and be able to convince yourself that if you just take that risk, you'll never know where life can take you. You just have to be bold enough to take that first step. I'm done. I'm off my soapbox. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your post notifications so you can stay in tune every time we drop a banger like this one. Because trust me, they're coming real rapidly. Scan this QR code if you're excited to see the album reaction to The Dark Side of the Moon. It will be up on there in full with complete commentary and breakdown if that's something you're excited to see. Once again, shout out to all of our patrons for your continued support. It is because of you that we're able to continue moving the way we have been with ferocity. It's very appreciated and it's never been taken lightly nor for granted. So thank you so much. We love you from us to you. What else do I want to say? 250 likes if you like to see the Dark Side of the Moon album reaction edited down and brought over to YouTube. We'll see. Hopefully YouTube doesn't block it, because a lot of these older groups, they kind of get a little bit sketchy about it. But 250 likes if that's something you like to see. And once again, as we've been saying, we're trying to, even though we're a growing platform, we want to reach our hands and be able to help out any up-and-coming artists. To me, the best talent in the world is always on its way up. You don't have to have been discovered or be extremely popular to have immense talent. If you like the way that we interpret art and you like the way that we break things down, and you would like for us to do it to what it is you're working on, whether it's music, film, art pieces, whatever it is, We keep the email in our description box. Make sure you reach out via email so we can figure something out. I feel like it's our duty to open up our platform to be able to reach a hand out and be able to help you guys shine. Nothing else matters more than that. You know how I feel about things. But once again, this video is dedicated to Eugene. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you enjoyed the interpretation. The rest of you guys, make sure you comment down below. Let me know what your favorite Pink Floyd song is, and let me know what their best album is to you. Is it even The Dark Side of the Moon, or is it something else? Let me know. I would love to hear what this band means to you. And listening to this song, what point in your life does it take you back to? I always like to open up the comments to be a place where people can share their testimonies and talk about things that make them feel something good. Life is heavy, so take the time to share with the community and talk about something positive. That matters more than anything. But until next time, this was Pink Floyd, Time. I go by the name of 5, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
How does this go? You wanna know? You've never been here before. Go with the flow. We'll take it slow. No need to rush. They don't got